Right, let's get straight into it. This is going to tie into a question that I was actually asked. Um, let's see how quick we can get through this stuff.
I look at sex from a negative lens, kind of. I could say God is healing me from that because of my past. And I want
Her past is a sex worker as a porn star, promiscuous, promiscuity
to give y'all some revelation that I just
in women specifically is what we're talking about. I was asked why is it different for men in comparison to women.
bought, only because I look at sex from a negative lens, kind of. I could say God is healing me from that because of my past. And I want to give y'all some revelation that I just got from yesterday. So, a lot of us grew up being very promiscuous. If you did not grow up that way, bless you, you saved yourself from so much damage.
Bingo. If you did not grow up that, she's talking from a female perspective, a female standpoint, the standpoint of a woman.
Past. And I want to give y'all some revelation that I just got from yesterday. So, a lot of us grew up being very promiscuous. If you did not grow up that way, bless you, you saved yourself from so much damage.
So much damage you saved yourself from, your husband from, your children from, your family from. Period. All right. And again, if you didn't grow up that way, it actually plays a part into a lot of things between a promiscuous woman who is promiscuous from an early age all the way through and a promiscuous woman who started promiscuity at a later stage. Both still have many red flags, but some are worse than others.
Members. That's why I was saying the other show, don't let every man hit the bottom of your vagina, the root of your vagina.
But they don't know about the bottom. They don't know about the bottom.
Yeah, that bottom one. But see, every man may not know because he might not have a penis to really know.
You heard that. That bottom, all right? Some of y'all may or may not know what that bottom is, but listen to this. This is again from the perspective of a woman.
I was saying the other show, don't let every man hit the bottom of your vagina, the root of your vagina.
But they don't know about the bottom. They don't know about the bottom.
Yeah, that bottom one. But see, every man may not know because he might not have a penis to really know how to hit that bottom or how to lift to hit that bottom and work that middle with a woman. She spread her legs wide and she started screaming, saying, "Yeah, daddy, that's it." Or she might start cursing or screaming out all types of profanities because he done hit the bottom. And now her mind, she insane. Her mind ain't good because the penis done ejaculated all in her brain. She's gone crazy. So you don't let every man hit your bottom and your body remembers it. Just like a man will put a woman over doggy style or maybe get a mirror or something. Then they start hitting that woman from the back or on her back. They hitting her. Then they start talking. They start saying all kind of stuff.
Yes, and the more partners she's had, the more times that she's experienced this, and the more memories of this that she has to tie these experiences with you two. Okay,
To her while they hitting her. And see, that woman is being seduced. She being seduced. He breaking her down, man. He is screwing her into submission. He's screwing her.
now again, this video is actually there's a longer clip of this, but there's also scientific evidence of the fact that women produce certain chemicals in their brain when this is happening, and it goes throughout their body again, and it literally makes that woman more and more shaped to that man. And so again, the more times that she experiences this, imagine how difficult it is for her to just be with you and only you. This is why it's very important to vet your women for promiscuity. Okay? How many times has she been slanged and banged like this and she's thinking about these experiences and comparing them to her experiences with you all the time.
So you don't let every man hit your bottom and your body remembers it. Just like a man will put a woman over doggy style.
Especially if you ain't packing. Whew! And she done been with several men who are. Good luck, buddy.
Or maybe get a mirror or something. Then they start hitting that woman from the back or on her back. They hitting her. Then they start talking. They start saying all kind of stuff to her while they hitting her.
All kind of crazy shit. Just yeah, wild shit, y'all. Wild shit.
And see, that woman is being seduced. She being seduced. He breaking her down, man. He is screwing her into submission. He's screwing her.
All right. So y'all heard that. This is from a lady herself. Let's get
Do you
into.
understand why guys would have a problem with a woman with a high body count, though? Do you understand the logic behind it?
I think it's insecurity.
You
That's
feel
where it
it's
comes from. I
insecurity?
think it's insecurity. That's where it comes from.
Explain.
Like, do they really want to have a woman that is just a virgin? Because she's not gonna be good, and she's gonna have no experience.
They don't
and
need you to be good, though.
That's so boring, isn't that
It's not boring.
That's
It's so stupid that you won't be good. For one, a man who knows what he's doing isn't gonna have any problems with a inexperienced woman. It will not be a problem at all. Again, you have these women who quote unquote know how to. They know how to real good. Well, guess what? They didn't a lot of people real good to get to that point. All right, and they usually in most cases started at a very early age, and that's when you see all these different moves because they start using different combinations from the time that they started all the way to now, and they use different guises, um strokes and positions, and then it just keeps adding up into their arsenal. Okay, it just keeps on adding up. And so they like all these different things from all these different men, and they want you to be a combination of all of their sexual climaxes. Okay, they want you to be a combination of all of that. So every good experience they had, they want you to be all that combined. So the more and more and more that that they've dealt with, the harder it's going to be to deal with them long term.
so boring.
I'll tell you what,
That's
it's not
so
boring.
it just sounds transactional to me. It just sounds so boring. I don't know.
That's very strange to me.
Yeah.
It sounds transactional for a virgin.
I like you because
be
you
with a man
haven't
who
been
has
with anyone.
experience.
Yeah, it's like you haven't been with anyone. That's why I like you. I think that's crazy. I don't know. That doesn't make sense to me at all.
Well, you can understand, first of all, if they're religious, that comes from a different place, right? So
yeah,
if that's
of course. Yeah.
okay.
Mhm.
So guys that are alpha guys that are, want to be, head of households and consider themselves leaders and want to, provide for their women, and they don't.
That is true, but just guys in general, for them, unless you're a cuck, this is, and I don't even think cucks really want to be cucks. I think that it's just something that they have psychologically inside them and feel so desperate that they deal with the stuff that they deal with.
They don't find it unattractive that a woman would have inexperience because they
No.
feel like, what's going to
Again, guys don't find it unattractive when a woman does not have experience. However, let's be real. Women, when you a guy who's 30, if he finds a virgin who's 25, you think he's going to be like, "Oh, I'm not dealing with her. She's a virgin." Now, on the other hand, a woman who's 30 and she for one, women tend to like older men or their age, but if she wanted to date a guy who's 25 and a virgin, chances are it's going to be some type of weird control type of thing. Which is what that's going to be. She's going to be controlling him with sex. Would a woman want to at 30 date a 30-year-old, 32-year-old virgin? Most of the time, most cases, no. They want a guy who has experience. That's just the truth of the nature. Okay?
make that experience in the bedroom so powerful is not that she can bounce off the walls or knows all these tricks or knows all these sexual things and she
Right. Let's hear that again cuz she just put some things in perspective.
what's going to make that experience in the bedroom so powerful is not that she can bounce off the walls or knows all these tricks or knows all these sexual things and look she's doing something. They don't find it unattractive that a woman would have inexperience because they feel like, what's going to make that experience in the bedroom so powerful is not that she can bounce off the walls or knows all these tricks or knows all these sexual things and oh look she's doing something like out of a porno. That's not what's appealing to them. What's appealing is that
Where the hell you think she learned that?
she's really excited to be there for him. She's present. She's loyal. She's committed. And
Right.
he doesn't need her to be an acrobat. He just needs her to be loyal.
Exactly.
So that's where they're coming from. It's
Right.
not appealing. The sexual promiscuity actually is a turnoff because then that means if she's doing all this stuff, she got a lot of practice with all these other guys. That's not special to me anymore. That's somebody who's more likely to
Are we
cheat
talking
or
about
stray.
sex or dating?
Sex. I'm talking about
Okay.
sex.
Yeah.
Who's more likely to
Are we
cheat
talking
or
about
stray.
sex or dating?
Sex. That's not special to me anymore. That's somebody who's more likely to
Are we
cheat
talking
or
about
stray.
sex or dating?
Special to me anymore. That's somebody who's more likely to
Are we
cheat
talking
or
about
stray.
sex or dating?
That's someone who's more likely to cheat or stray. Okay? Let's be real. Stop playing with the masses. Stop playing with the men. And men, stop playing with yourselves and stop playing with these women who want to act like this.
Sex. I'm talking about
Okay.
sex.
Yeah, but I'm gonna assume that they're probably dating. If she's gone to that step, they're probably dating, right?
Probably. I mean, you never know. Yeah, probably.
Yeah. It doesn't make sense to me.
You don't see
Why you
that a
would wanna
body
do that?
count.
No, because if she's picked to be with you after all these guys, isn't that special because she picked you instead of all these?
No. That means that she's been slayed. That means that she's been slayed, then decided to stray away. She's been slanged and banged, used, abused, washed, dried, tossed, and sauced. Okay? And then she sees you as someone who will put up with that. And she can settle for it because a lot of those other guys just knew exactly what she was good for and weren't going to stick around. Okay? That's what that means. You don't want to use the same rubber as someone else, do you? Okay, this is essentially what these women are turning themselves into, human rubbers.
Other guys. That's how I view it. It's like she picked that person. She went through 100 and
Yeah.
didn't like any of them as
Wow.
much as she likes the last one, and then she has all these experiences and is probably really great in bed.
Yeah, for a one night or an occasional rendezvous, definitely not to be waking up in bed with and going to bed with and on a regular basis. That would be insane.
Well, they'll say no because there was something wrong with her judgment that she allowed herself to be that open and that intimate with so many guys. She couldn't have been in love with 100. If you're using 100 is a big number, right? So
Yeah,
she,
let's
she
say
couldn't have
let's
been.
say
It is a big number, and unfortunately, a lot of women are out here with that number and bigger numbers than that, and close to that number. It's wow.
let's say 10 people.
Yeah.
I'm more normal maybe.
I think the
Yeah.
challenge is, and the conversation always goes when I had this conversation with Destiny too.
She said 10 people. A lot of y'all are like 10. 10, that's nothing. A lot of y'all women, when she said 10, y'all got offended. She said 10 women. How about let's use that? Y'all were like, that's nothing. Okay.
Like virgin or somebody who slept with like 100 people. Those are
Mhm.
two extreme cases,
Mhm.
right? Do I think that most guys would take a virgin gladly over somebody who had slept with 100 people? 100%.
1,000 million, gazillion, bajillion, infinity percent.
100%. But do I think, they're going to be opposed to a woman who's slept with a few guys that she had relationships with, where she did pair sex with emotion, where she was having something real? No, I think that's totally okay. I think the challenge is that they worry that if you're able to disconnect sex from emotion, you're more likely to then cheat in a relationship. You're more likely the second you hit a roadblock to be somebody who can go cheat because you're wired that way. You're capable of just sex is sex. You're more likely to then cheat in a relationship. You're more likely that if you're able to disconnect sex from emotion, you're more likely to then cheat in a relationship. You're more likely the second you hit a roadblock to be somebody who can go cheat because you're wired that way. You're capable of just sex is sex. If you're
Exactly. Which makes you a liability to any man walking this planet. If your woman has a propensity to stray away and screw other men, she's a liability. Period.
You're a virgin or somebody who's had sex with two guys and both of them you've been madly in love with, you don't even know a world outside of sex paired with love. There's a lot of safety and security that a man gets from that. Can you
Right.
I feel like
understand
I
that?
would be a lot more scared if I had a
Run
girlfriend.
that back.
There's a lot of safety and security you've been madly in love with is sex. If you're a virgin or somebody who's had sex with two guys and both of them you've been madly in love with, you don't even know a world outside of sex paired with love. There's a lot of safety.
And some of y'all don't even know a world that pairs love with sex is the problem. It's a big problem. She's talking about women who can't even imagine a world that's not paired, that doesn't have love and sex paired together. That's the type of woman that men need to look for. N- The type of women who have never even had sex paired with love, okay? They, or so much sex that was not paired with love. You have to avoid these women. They will stray away. They will end up again back in the streets where you found them, where you got them from. That's why I try to tell you again, it's not your woman, it's your turn. Es- Especially when it comes to dealing with these street urchins.
Insecurity that a man gets from that. Can you
I feel like
understand
I
that?
would be a lot more scared if I had a girlfriend that was a virgin and no experience. Like, let's say she goes to work and then she meets someone else, and they have like a really good chemistry, and
It's ridiculous what she's saying right now. I don't even know if I want to play this. What she's saying is so stupid. Just listen.
a lot of sexual tension.
A virgin is more likely to stray away than a woman who's had body after body after body, is what she's saying. Because oh, she's already had all these bodies, she doesn't need any more bodies. Okay.
I feel like just because she doesn't know what that is on the other side, she would be more interested in doing it than if she is aware of her feelings, she's aware of what she can do and what she wants because she has a lot of experience. I feel like if she picks me, it makes a lot more sense because she knows so much better about herself because she gained so much experience and learned about herself.
If that girl gets
Yeah, she's gained so much experience by getting rotted out, getting gutted. Like what? Yeah, so much more experience that she's learned about herself, that she likes to get her hair pulled and slapped here and hog tied and all this stuff by all these other men. Yeah, I'm sure she's so much more um stable and so much more satisfied than a woman who's a virgin, and so much less likely to stray off, right? It's just stupid.
gets to 21, 22, 23, particularly now given like what the college experience looks like and she's still a virgin, that is a girl who you're going to feel really comfortable going to work. And if she
Period.
does have a dynamic with somebody that maybe there's some chemistry, she's gonna guard her body so heavily
you
and
know
treat that so well because that's how it
Because she already has, bimbo.
works, right? That's it would be like a huge contrast between imagine a woman who
Look at this
went through
bimbo.
college, went through, the hookups culture scene, was out with her friends who were doing that and didn't do it because she couldn't physically, like that just wasn't something she could do. She didn't feel like casual sex was in her DNA.
I think like
Men, that's what you need right there. All right, I'm gonna play this back. Those women who, there are women like this. I promise you, they're out there. The women who can't comprehend casual sex. They're not into that type of shit. That's not in their DNA. That is just the idea of that makes them cringe. They're out there.
Do it because she couldn't physically, like that just wasn't something she could do. She didn't feel like casual sex was in her DNA.
I think like if you're, let's say you're dating someone from high school,
went through college, went through, the hookups culture scene, was out with her friends who were doing that and didn't do it because she
Right.
couldn't physically, like that just wasn't something she could do. She didn't feel like casual sex was in her DNA.
And she most likely had a father. Okay. Let's also make note of that. All right. So I'm gonna end it on this is gonna be the last one right here. We're gonna break down. A man's got a lot of good valid points here. And he breaks down this article. Okay. Psychologists Galena K. Rhodes and Scott M. Stanley found that the study respondents who had sex with multiple partners prior to marriage reported lower quality unions compared to couples who slept with just one other who had just slept with each other. Multiple sex partners prior to marriage reduced marital quality for women but not men. Okay? Multiple sex partners prior to marriage reduced marital quality for women but not men. This is a study. Okay? Psychologists Galena K. Rhodes and Scott M. Stanley found that a study respondents who had sex with other people prior to marriage reported lower quality unions compared to the couples who had slept with just each other. All right. Multiple sex partners prior to marriage reduced marital quality for women, but not for men. Okay. This ain't my words. These are the words of a psychologist. Multiple psychologists. So this is the study that he's going to kind of break down a bit.
Free in my upcoming book. Number 11 was talking about notch count and female promiscuity. And a lot of people lost their minds. Men were very
Notch count, body count. Same shit.
confused. They were saying things like, well, if men can do it, then why can't women too? And women were saying, well, if men can do it, why can't women too? And I'm going to explain why in this video with some cold hard fact. Let's hop right into it. The main reason is it boils down to her ability to pair bond over a long-term basis and dissatisfaction reported in the relationship for both men and women goes up dramatically as her notch count goes up. Interestingly, those figures don't correlate to men. The biggest difference between men and women specifically is
Interesting. Those numbers don't correlate to men. The higher that the body count goes up on a female, it's harder for her to pair bond. But however, those aren't the same for men. Let's see. What's he saying?
Dissatisfaction reported in the relationship for both men and women goes up dramatically as her notch count goes up. Interestingly, those figures don't correlate to men.
The higher her body count is, the less happier both parties are in the relationship. Wow. That is amazing. That is incredible. Wow. The higher the woman's body count, the less satisfaction and more dissatisfaction is in the relationship for both parties, just based on the woman's body count. Wow.
The biggest difference between men and women specifically is men are born as nothing. We need to create value. We need to learn competency skills. Men generally are viewed as success objects by the world and by women. Women, on the other hand, are more valued for their beauty. I think it was observed by Dr. Warren Farrell in his book, The Myth of Male Power. He said that women are sex objects and men are success objects.
Women are sex objects, men are success objects, which is exactly what I've been trying to say which was what I've been saying this whole entire time and trying to get through to a lot of you. Women are born with innate value, especially in the sexual marketplace. All right? They don't have to work for any type of sexual pleasures or partners or rendezvous, anything like that. Men are willing and ready to do that with literally no type, the most minimal of interactions. On the other hand, for a man to get sexy, he has to have some type of success, um, very good looks, good something has to put him over the top, and it's usually something that he did. He has to work his way up into something that makes women want to have sex with him. He has to have money, access to something that women want. All right? Understand that.
And I think that holds true. So
And a lot of times it can just be off of him being popular because again, a lot of women love attention. So if they're with this guy, then they will get more attention. So many different things.
Women's value comes from her preserving herself, her beauty, and her notch count. Whereas men, on the other hand, it comes from developing competency skills. So people are going to get mad. Oh, why does it have to be different? Why can't it be?
That's what it is. Women's value comes off them preserving their purity. Period. Men's come off them being able to develop into something that women want.
Be the same for everybody. Blank slate equalism does not exist, and I'll explain exactly why in this video if you hang around till the end. So I'm going to go over here to my screen. We've got a study from the Institute of, I would suspect,
What's this study?
but just as an overview from 20,000 feet, this has changed over time. And we've seen this change as a function of society embracing more liberalized sort of terms and lifestyles. And we've been basically telling women to act more like men.
Right.
You know, since 60s or 70s or so, roughly, I would estimate. But you know, they've been told to, you know, work more, put off, you know, childbearing years. They've been told to
Yep.
get degrees. You see a general masculine
We've
get
been
married and have kids.
we've been telling women to act like men. That's what he just said. All right. Which is true. That's what I've been saying. We've been training women to act like men and men to act like women since about the 60s. This is when all that women empowerment stuff started hitting the mainstream slowly but surely.
would be essentially a better prospect if you wanted to have children with somebody. So the ability to pair bond goes down, dissatisfaction increases. All right, so the next thing that I want to cover with you guys is the increased reporting of personality disorders as it's associated with notch count. So as female promiscuity goes up, there's higher reports of personality disorders, depression. There's a massive increase in substance abuse that's directly correlated to promiscuity in women.
Wow. So I don't want to hear any more questions about is it the same for men and women to have high body count? All right. There's no debate. I'm not going to say the debate is over because there was never a debate. This was never even a question. Folks started bringing it into question, although it was never a valid question.
So it reveals over here, according to borderline personality disorder status with the BPD personality scale diagnostics questionnaire, we found that the mean number of sexual partners among positive participants
Go a little forward.
Are significantly higher. You know, twin B has a higher probability of marrying somebody or getting involved with somebody that lost her virginity. Notch count. These are facts. These are not things that I'm making up. They're factual things that we know based on studies. You know, if we have a guy that has a choice between two women and one's got a very low notch count and lost her virginity quite later on in life versus guy B, you could take two identical twins who wipes up somebody that lost her virginity at quite a young age and has a bigger notch count. The chances of, you know, twin A being happier than twin B are significantly higher.
Yes.
You know, twin B has a higher probability of marrying somebody or getting involved with somebody on a long-term basis that could have substance abuse issues, that could have a personality disorder, that could be very difficult to deal with over a long-term basis. The other problem with that as well is when women have a promiscuous past, they also have a higher chance of not being able to stay faithful over a longer period of time.
Bingo. Listen to that again.
Have a promiscuous past or getting involved with somebody on a long-term basis that could have substance abuse issues, that could have a personality disorder, that could be very difficult to deal with over a long-term basis. The other problem with that as well is when women have a promiscuous past, they also have a higher chance of not being able to stay faithful over a longer period of time. They also have a higher chance of to deal with over a long-term basis. The other problem with that as well is when women have a promiscuous past, they also have a higher chance of not being able to stay faithful over a longer period of time.
which is a big liability for men. Not only are you going to be putting up with multiple personalities at a higher rate, but also promiscuity throughout the marriage at a higher rate when you deal with women with high body counts. There's so much evidence.
It's a lot easier for them to leave and go to the next relationship. It's not that likely that they're going to want to stay and do the work or take ownership if they have a
She's a runner, she's a track star. She gonna run away when it gets hard. All that shit. It's she's gonna do what she does. Runners run. That's what track stars do.
a past or a history of quickly moving from one guy to the other over in rapid succession. Now, one of the things that a lot of guys don't understand is they often like to ask women, well, how many guys have you been with? I think it's usually women.
They're gonna lie. Usually women ask and then the guy tells them. And also, usually men go up when they lie. Women go down when they lie. They try to take off all the one night stands and the guys that quote unquote didn't matter whenever they're telling about their body count. But all those bodies definitely count. Tell the truth about those bodies.
Term relationships, and the like of that. Something that has some sort of meaning. There's also a higher probability for guys that she might have been alpha widowed, meaning she's still got an unhealthy attachment or pining for a guy from her past that might have let her go. Setting that aside, though,
Yes. Especially if he was blowing that back out, hitting that bottom.
they're generally not going to reveal relationships or sexual encounters that include things like friends with benefits, threesomes, lesbian encounters, during her travels to Vegas and Europe for the summer and stuff like that. That's where these terms, what happens in Vegas stays in Vegas sort of thing, are coined from. So you have to understand you're not going to get the truth, and trying to estimate it is going to be quite difficult. I mean, one of the easiest way to do it is if she was in a long-term relationship for 10 years, and before you met her, there was really nothing else going on in her world. There's no travel. There was no, staying at university for 5 to 7 years or something like that in dorms with girls and frat parties and weekends away and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
Improve your life. She can add some value. She can be a complement to your life. If you bring the wrong woman in, careful and selective about who you let into your inner circle. That's
Yes.
what it really boils down
What it really boils down to.
is if you're going to invite a woman into your life, you want to be very, very careful and selective about who you let into your inner circle, especially if it's on a long-term basis. If you let the right woman in, she can really improve your life. She can add some value. She can be a complement to your life. If you bring the wrong woman in, she can make your entire life a total train wreck. So you have to be very, very selective about who you're going to let in on your inner circle. You should definitely vet for promiscuity. I've given you some good use would look like. So guys, what it really boils down to is if you're going to invite a woman into your life, you want to be very, very careful and selective about who you let into your inner circle, especially if it's on a long-term basis. If you let the right woman in, she can really improve your life. She can add some value. She can be a complement to your life. If you bring the wrong woman in, she can make your entire life a total train wreck. So you have to be very, very selective about who you're going to let in on your inner circle. You should definitely vet for promiscuity. I've given you some good, useful tips in
You should
this
vet
video.
for
If you haven't
promiscuity.
downloaded my free chapter on red flags, pinned in the top comment of this video,